Gender roles for children are important. Gender is connected with biology. Why is it that primates, like chimpanzees, okay, males and females, act differently and have different genders? Is that because of the patriarchy, the monkey patriarchy? Is it because of that? Well, apparently, according to the BBC, the answer is yes. According to the BBC, all gender is connected with social stereotyping. And so what they're going to do is torture a few kids to make sure that you know that you are actually a sexist. So they cut a video over at BBC. I'm sure taxpayers in Britain are super thrilled that this is what they spend time on. Here's the BBC reporting on taking a couple of kids, one who's a boy and one who's a girl, and switching their clothing and then watching as adults treat them differently. Right, because adults are not stupid enough to believe that boys and girls are the same.
Look at this, you like a dolly? She'll go for the dolly. There's a good girl.
Okay, this is Edward, who's dressed as a girl.
Aren't you, Sophie? I think she liked that pink dolly the best.
If I were to tell you actually that Sophie is Edward,
does
that change anything?
I maybe thought, oh, this is a little girl, so I have to give her little girl things.
Says men hugely dominate careers, prizing math, spatial awareness. Are boys born better at these, or is it nature, or is it nurture?
What's this one?
And the answer is it's nature, guys, by the way.
Is that a robot?
If I tell you that he is actually a girl.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I like the lady's
really
look of disapproval. Like, why would you do
I
that?
suppose it's because of the stereotype.
And then that changed your behaviour towards the child.
It did.
And your behaviour was quite directive.
Surprise. So I automatically went for the pink fluffy toy because I said it was a girl, so I was sort of stereotyping.
Okay, this is so stupid. This is so stupid. Stop for a second. Okay, stop. This is so stupid. Oh, I thought I was more open-minded. I immediately went for the gender stereotype toy. You know why? Because babies, I have a girl, I have a boy. You know what? They prefer different toys. My boy prefers a lightsaber and smacking his sister with it. My girl prefers actually sitting there and reading books and playing with dolls. Okay, every so often she'll grab the sword and smack her brother back. But that's not because she prefers that kind of toys. There's deep social science about toy preference. Okay, it's so funny. I think it was Hasbro at one point tried a gender-neutral dollhouse. They tried a gender-neutral dollhouse, and you know what they found? What they actually found is that the girls were taking the dollies and putting them to sleep. They're being all nice to the little dollies. And the boys were taking dollies and catapulting them off the roof of the toy house. Because boys and girls are different. The only reason my boy ever wants to play with anything that my daughter has is because my daughter has it. That's legitimately the only reason. Now, is it bad to reinforce these natural inclinations of children? No. Would it be the worst thing in the world if my kid wanted to play with a doll? My boy? No. But why would I possibly try and steer him in the direction of playing with dolls when that's not something he wants, number one? And number two, when I think it is very important to reinforce gender stereotyping. I think some gender stereotyping is quite good, not about what you can do and what you can't. My daughter can be a scientist. My daughter can be a doctor. Her mommy is. Okay, but it is important to recognize that men and women are not the same. And trying to undermine this by confusing a child is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I'm sure it makes you feel better about yourself to believe that you have this much control over the world, but you actually don't. It turns out that men and women are very different in a variety of ways that extend beyond genitals. And the fact that the left continues to propose this anti-scientific nonsense that boys and girls are completely the same, and that if we just retrained women to be more interested in engineering, that suddenly the gap would disappear, it's just not true. It's just not true. You know, they've been trying this stuff in the Nordic countries, and it's been failing dramatically. There's no evidence that any of it works, because in the end, nature will end up winning. It's ridiculous. And to do this to small children, to dress up a boy as a little girl just so you can show parents, oh my gosh, look at your stereotyping. Why don't you just dress the boy in boy clothes because he's a boy? It's important. It's important. Now, it's interesting. People have this whole thing now about cross-dressing. Well, why do you care if your boy wears a dress? Why do you care if your doctor wears a white coat? Why do you care if your police officer wears a police uniform? Why do you care if you walk into the office dressed like a normal human being or dressed as a schlub? It turns out that clothes actually mean something. They give off social cues. And not only do they give off social cues, they also give you a uniform to identify with. It is good that boys should identify with other boys. It is good that girls should identify with other girls. It is good that sexes understand the differences between the sexes. And it is not bad to reinforce those things. Again, this is nothing to do with reinforcing lies about the capacity of women or anything of that sort. But to suggest that it's good if a girl cross-dresses or a boy cross-dresses, it makes them more sensitive. No, it makes them more confused. It gives social cues to people. They should treat the boy as a girl. And boys and girls are not exactly the same. And treating them exactly the same, you're a bad parent if you do. If I treated my girl the same way I did the boy, you know what? I'd be a garbage parent because they don't want the same things. They're not interested in the same things. And it would be me being selfishly stupid to do that. Turning everybody into these faceless widgets is the dumbest nonsense ever. All these individualistic lefties who want to turn babies into widgets so they can treat them all as genderless, neutral beings. They're not these balls of slime that you can mold into any shape you want, you idiots.